Okay, this is probably going to be unlike any video you've watched on making money before, but I feel compelled to recording this because there's so much misinformation surrounding this topic that leads people down paths that fundamentally do not help them reach their goals. And so today I'm going to reveal the raw truth of what it actually takes to hit millionaire status. And you're probably not going to like half the stuff I go through today, but at least by the end of this video, you'll be able to make an informed decision on whether or not this is actually a path you want to take in your life. Now, I hit millionaire status, self-made, at 25 years old. I'm now 29 and almost forgot my age then. And I've got a significant amount of tax-free cash in the bank. So I'm not going to sell you anything today. I have no ulterior motives here. I just want to help you in the way that I wish I was helped when I first started my business. And so, man, I'm pacing already. Let me grab my coffee. You should probably grab one too. You're going to need it. And let's head over to the desk and get stuck in with this today. And I'm just gonna brain dump everything that I know about becoming a millionaire in the shortest time frame possible. I'm gonna be going through some opportunities today that are time sensitive, that may not be around by the time some of you watch this, so don't waste time. Grab a coffee, grab a notepad. Yeah, let's get stuck into this. Okay, what do we call this? Get rich doing this. Straight to the point. Cool, I'm also gonna do a giveaway on this video. I want to know where you guys are at. Let me just zoom in on this camera right now. Okay, we good? Cool, I want to know where you guys are at. I want to know your why you actually want to get rich. You need to understand this first and foremost as well. Okay, now for me, when I first started, I wanted to escape the corporate 9 to 5. I wanted location freedom. That was my why. So think about that and drop me a comment down below. I'm going to give away $1,000 to one of you guys to help you get off the ground. I'm also going to give away a coaching call to 1 out of every 100 people that enter that giveaway, where I'm going to help you actually reach those goals, regardless of what those goals are. Okay, so I'm going to give away a K and plus coaching calls for every 1 out of 100 people. Sweet. So with that out of the way, you already get that. Who am I? All right, let's just build a little bit of context here. I promise I'll be quick on this note. Apologies if you can hear the sirens outside. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa right now. It happens. So I made my first million at 25. And I now have 7 figures tax-free cash in the bank, okay? And what else do you need to know? I've made over 100 million for my clients, okay? I own a marketing agency, I also own an education business, among a bunch of other things. But I first and foremost believe in giving back to the world way more than you take from it. And so we generate huge amounts of return on investment for everyone that we work with. And that is fundamentally important to business. You need to understand how to generate great results for the clients that you work with, regardless of your product or your service, okay? Now, life is very different to what it used to be, okay? I just want to run through a couple of milestones. Now, I started many businesses. I kept failing at everything I tried. Okay, excuse the spelling mistakes, we're just going to smash through this. I was kicked out of university. Okay, and I had a huge amount of debt, like 30K plus debt. And you might think, okay, the student loans, you have to pay that back for a long time. I was also in about 5 grand to have a credit card debt. Okay, so I got my first sales job. And I knew to myself, if I wanted to get out of it, I needed to pay it off as quickly as possible. And so I was terrified of sales, but I jumped into it. Okay, I was useless at it as well. But I was unfulfilled. I actually managed to do quite well. And I was making a decent amount of money, but I wanted to still get out of that job. So I started an agency, okay, which is a marketing agency out of my friend's living room. Okay. We are skipping forward. I celebrated my first 100K month a year later. I fulfilled all my materialistic desires. I took my mum to Dubai. I took her to Monaco. You get the idea, okay? So all her dream places. Okay, I spoke on stages around the world, and I've helped thousands of others find success. Okay, it's always been my mission to give more away for free than other people would have you pay for. Okay, so enough about me. That gives you a little bit of context there. This is about you. I'm going to offload everything. Okay, this is going to be probably the most valuable video you ever watch on making money online. I'm not going to hold anything back. You're not going to like the things that I say in many cases, but I don't bullshit. I don't pussyfoot any of you that have watched my videos before. I say it exactly how it is. And so this is going to be the raw path to making money. If you don't want to go and watch someone sell you a dream, feel free to do so. But if you want to know what it actually takes, this is what we're going to be going through today. I've allocated a couple of hours sitting down here and just brain dumping everything that you need to know at this point. And so, yeah, let's just get into this. So, first thing that you need to understand, and I'm going to divide this up as much as possible, is what you actually want. Okay? So what do you actually want? If you've got a pen and paper, write this down. Okay, maybe we can use this as like an active worksheet. Okay, what do you actually want though? As a business owner, what do you actually want? I'm going to zoom in on this. Okay, that's why that's why I've asked you your why. Okay, so most people go for the big three. So we've got financial freedom. Oh, it's been a long day. Let me just look at that barista. I need this coffee. Come on. Hurry up. It's been a day full of meetings today. I just haven't stopped. And I wanted to get this done for you guys. I almost sacked it off, I can't lie to you. But here I am. Let's get it done. So financial freedom, what does that look like? You want to buy what you want, when you want it, right? That's financial freedom. What about time freedom? Okay, freedom of your schedule, okay, control over your schedule. And then finally we have location freedom, okay? So it's the freedom to work wherever you want. It's lifestyle by design. By design, not necessity. So many people live their lives by living on necessity. They have to work in a specific place, they have to go to the office, they have to work from home, and they do not have that freedom of being wherever they want, okay? And these are the big three things that most people are motivated by when they want to start a business, okay? And you can have all three of these things, okay? You can. And you can even have all three of these things through employment. It's not impossible to have these things through employment. But that's a very rare instance. And so the majority of you guys are going to need to be in some kind of a business in order to actually reach these goals, okay? But what does this actually look like, okay? What does it actually look like to have these three things, okay? Do you understand what that looks like? Okay, have you actually visualized this? So you need to get a really clear picture of what it looks like, okay? Visualize this, embody it. Every single day you need to be obsessed with that goal. You need to think about what it is specifically you want from being rich, okay? What is money actually going to do for you? What about a vision board, okay? Now, I created one of these. I found this so cringy when I first started, right? The idea of creating a vision board, I read it in the book, Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. I recommend you reading that. It's an incredible book, changed my life. And when I read that book, it spoke about visualization. And a vision board is simply a board, a pinboard, whatever you print off. You can have this digitally as well, but it's better if you have it printed off so you can actually see it every day. All the things that you want, your dream car, your dream family, your dream house, dream locations, okay? The body that you want, be as granular as you possibly can be. The food that you want to eat. Visualize and embody those things. This is the first step. You need to understand what you want if you want to actually work towards or have any chance in getting it in the first place. And then you need to establish, do you really fucking want it? Like, do you actually want it? Or is it just what everyone else wants? Like, serious question. Do you actually want the things that you say you want? Or do you just want them because everyone else wants them? Because everyone on Instagram wants it? Okay, because all your friends want it. Everyone wants the Lambo, everyone wants the Ferrari, everyone wants the big house, everyone wants the fancy clothes, the location, right? But do you actually want it? Have you ever actually considered that the things that you think you want may actually just be these subconscious kind of thoughts that you've been instilled by the content and the material that you've been absorbing throughout your whole life? Do you really fucking want it? Yeah? And if you do, understand you don't deserve it yet. Like, seriously, it's vital you understand this. Whatever you want right now that you do not have, you do not deserve it right now. If you did, you would have it. It is as simple as that, okay? So you have to become the person, scroll down, you have to become the person that deserves it. That deserves it, okay? And to do that, your identity must change. Okay, so important. Your identity must change if you want to have something in your life that you don't have right now, okay? Now, there's this quote that I once read, and I don't know what book I read it in. I tried to find it before, and I actually can't even find this quote, so if one of you guys know it, maybe I can just claim it for myself and create a meme for it. But once you yourself are a success, everything you touch will be successful. Strongly believe this. When you yourself are a success, everything you touch will be successful, okay? And what that means is you have to embody the person that you need to become, or the person that deserves the things that you actually want, okay? You yourself as an individual, and I'm not just saying, okay, you need a successful business, you need a successful career. You yourself as an individual, you need to be in shape, you need to be healthy, you need to have the right habits, you need to have the right mentality, you need to embody that person. You yourself, think of yourself as a business, okay? And all the different components that make up the human being, your own identity, okay? All of those individual components need to be successful if you want to go out there and make a successful business. If not, you're going to be fighting this massively uphill battle. You don't stand a chance in business if you're not master of your personal life, okay? If you're not master of your own health, if you're not master of your own mentality, you're going to really struggle in business, okay? It's very important to understand. How do we actually embody this person, okay? We need to do the groundwork, okay? What does that groundwork actually look like? Okay, hopefully this isn't lagging, guys. Let me know if this is like you like this style of content. Like I'm just freeballing this, just trying to get through this content in my head. I have it all in my head, but I don't want to just like pre-write this all for you. I think it's, yeah, okay. But I don't want to delay. So, okay, first of all, we need to conduct a time audit. Okay, I think this is really important for everybody to do, okay? An honest time audit as well. Okay, what is a time audit? Well, you're going to do this over 2 weeks. A time audit is where we analyze everything that we're actually doing in our life over a period of time. And I want you to do this for 2 weeks. I want you to sit down and I want you to write down all of the things that you are doing within your life on a daily basis. Like literally everything, okay? 6 a.m, went to the gym. 7 a.m, ate breakfast. 7:30 p.m, scrolled through Instagram. Did it for half an hour. 8 a.m, went on Tinder, whatever. You get the idea, and be honest. Write this all down. Okay, charge me. Okay. And then ask yourself honestly, am I spending over 50% of my time on things that move the needle? Honestly, are you spending over 50% of your private time, okay, on things that actually move the needle, okay, of your free time? And be truthful. And what am I doing that actively contradicts what I want, okay? What are you doing right now that actively contradicts the things that you're doing in your life? And what proactive habits can you replace them with, okay? So many of us, and I know I can speak for this, when I first started, I was going out every single weekend, Friday and Saturday night, sometimes even in a midweeker as well. I was hungover quite a lot, so I would have no motivation to go and do work. I also smoked weed almost every single day. And so I had so many bad habits that were getting in the way of that goal. And so you have to analyze and be very truthful and brutal with yourself in understanding and analyzing which things you are doing right now are standing in the way of you reaching your goals, and then being open to replacing those individual things with proactive habits that are actually going to aid your success, okay? What do those things look like? And there are going to be some obvious things. You're going to be like, okay, Jordan, I've heard this all before. At what point you're actually going to integrate it in your life then? Waking up early, massive one. Read the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Changed my life, okay? That'll help you wake up early. It'll help you get some really healthy habits around waking up. We'll practice savers, okay? I can create a whole video on that. Let me know if you want me to. Educating daily. Okay, most people don't educate themselves since they left school. Okay, when was the last time you read a book? Be honest, when was the last time that you read a book? Okay, podcasts don't really count in the same way, okay? When you actually absorb that information, just sit down just for the words, okay? Working out, just getting uncomfortable. It's a massive one, okay? What do I say working out, okay? You might think, oh, well, working out, being into my health and so on, what does that have to do with business? Okay, working out is a form of doing shit that you really don't want to do, getting uncomfortable. If you have never been in a habit of working out, it's fucking hard to get in the gym and actually motivate yourself to get off your ass and go do something every single day. Especially if you're in bad shape, if you've even got more of an uphill battle, okay? Working out is difficult. And doing that consistently and doing it properly and not half-arsing it is really difficult. And if you do difficult things, if you get used to being uncomfortable, you are laying a solid foundation to be the kind of person that deserves success. If you're not prepared to be uncomfortable and you are just going to sit in this ball of comfort for the remainder of your life, and that's where you are content in being, then you will never be successful and you will never be rich. That is the bottom line. These people that you hear about online that are like unicorns that just got lucky at some point, okay? They just stumbled across a business, they just managed to make it work. Those stories are either complete bullshit or those people actually got fundamentally lucky and were in the right place at the right time. That will not be you. For the majority of people like you and I that are brought up in normal families where we don't have everything that we want, and we certainly do not have everything that we need to be successful, okay? Where we do not have the solid kind of silver spoon within our mouths. For normal people like you and I, we have to get used to being uncomfortable. And society creates comfortable, warm, cozy people that hide from discomfort, okay? So working out, waking up early, educating daily, these are all things that we fundamentally reject in life, okay, as normal people, okay, as people that just work jobs. And so we need to get used to those things, okay, and replace the things that we're doing right now that are getting in the way. And you must understand that work-life balance, this is a big one. Work-life balance does not exist, okay, it is a construct. Okay, hear this so many times over when I speak to people about starting a business and I let them know what it actually takes, how much work they're going to put in. They're like, well, there's not much balance in that, is there? Like, what about work-life balance? Well, fuck your work-life balance. If you want to be successful, then you're going to have to understand that that is a construct. There is no line between work and life. Your life becomes your work and you embody it, you will enjoy it. And yes, it's going to be difficult at the start, but your work will become your life to the fact that you obsess over it. And then you will put in the hours and you will do what it physically takes in order for you to get to your goals, okay? You cannot come into this with the same mindset that you have right now in leaving work and then all of a sudden you've just unlocked all of this personal life. That's not how it works when you start a business. You're going to be thinking about this when you sleep. You're going to be thinking about this at the weekend. You're going to obsess over it and you're going to love it at a point, okay? It's going to be difficult in the early stages, but you need to get out of your head the concept of work-life balance. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot of your personal time, your previous lifetime, okay, to actually doing what you need to doing the hard shit in order to reach your goals and earn the privilege to claim that life back, okay? When you are successful, when you've got money, you will earn that privilege back. You can make a choice on how much time you can actually work. But in the initial stages, you need to be all in, okay? This is a construct. They are not separate entities. Okay. You need to be all in or not at all. Make the commitment. You cannot half-ass this. Okay, yes, sure, if some of you are working a part-time job right now, yes, sure, if you've got kids, if you've got commitments, okay, you can only do what you can do. You can only deal with the cards that you've been dealt. But if you've got, okay, free time, which all of us do have, we need to be all in on that free time. We need to make the commitment. You can't just dip your toe into starting a business and trying to go full hog rich, okay, because dipping your toe is what you're doing right now by watching a whole bunch of YouTube content and not implementing it. That'll get you nowhere. You have to be all in and you have to make the commitment to actually doing this properly. There's going to be a cycle of things, or there's going to be a cycle of stage that you guys are in right now. I want to run through this. So yeah, let's do this. Okay. I want to run you through something called the emotional state of change. Okay. Okay. Now, what am I going to do? I need to find this on Google, really. I need to get a visual representation for you. So let's go over to Google, the emotional state of change. See if we can find this graph. Cool. This will do. Okay. When we go through a significant period of change, when we make the actual commitment to change something within our lives, we normally go through, especially in business, these 5 state changes, okay? Number 1, we have uninformed optimism, okay? So stage 1 is uninformed optimism, okay? Now, at this stage, see if I can just make this a toggle list. Cool. Now, this is the place every entrepreneur starts, okay? this is where many of you will be right now at the time of watching this, okay? So this is where you have real, genuine excitement for the road ahead, okay? You might have a feeling of, I'd be crazy not to do this, and maybe even a feeling that this is going to be the best thing you've ever done. Okay, because you get blinded by ideas, and I don't care what business you actually go and follow, okay? You're going to be in a stage of uninformed optimism at the start of that business. You're going to be completely blinded by it, and then eventually you will hit stage 2, okay? Stage 2 is informed pessimism. So this is when reality starts to kick in. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a realization that this is going to be harder than you thought it was. You might even wake up in the middle of the night, okay, debating whether this is all worth it. Some of you guys will be resonating with this. Think about what stage you're in right now, okay? You might even start doubting other people's success. Okay, that's stage 2. What about stage 3? Stage 3 is the valley of despair. This is as low as it gets, okay? The valley of despair is your lowest point. Okay, now when we hit this point, you're gonna feel stupid for even trying. You probably have a desire to give up, and at that point you're gonna have no idea what to do next. And most people give up at this point. This is the issue. Most people give up at the valley of despair, okay? And you can't avoid these things. You are gonna hit this cycle multiple times throughout your business career, and this is why I want you to understand this. You're probably thinking, well, this doesn't sound great. I mean, no, there's not all gonna be highs in business. You're gonna have to experience extreme lows to be able to appreciate those extreme highs. And you're gonna go through this cycle multiple times throughout your business journey. Many people fail at this valley of despair because they feel like it's all over, okay? And what they don't realize is they are right on the brink of hitting stage 4, okay? And stage 4 is informed optimism, okay? And this is the place you think you'll never reach, because you've gone stage 3 right back to stage 1. You jump onto another opportunity, another shiny object, and hence the cycle just repeats itself. Okay, you never push through for long enough, you never persevered, never consistent for long enough to actually get to stage 4 informed optimism. Okay, and this is where you actually come to terms and you accept the fact that you're not going to get rich overnight, and things start to click. Okay, you get an understanding of what it actually takes. You get an understanding of what you need to do, and ultimately a feeling that it's all going to be worth it. Sounds good, right? Okay, but then we finally have stage 5, and this is success, okay? And fulfillment. Because success, what is success if we don't feel fulfilled, right? I would suspect that most of you guys watching this haven't actually hit stage 5 yet, unless you've done it in a previous business. That's probably the reason why you're watching this video. And this is where you're finally achieving your goals, okay? You've still got a student mindset, which is where you're forever learning. I will never stop learning. I will never be so obnoxious to believe that I understand absolutely everything. I will always be a sponge to information, and I fully understand that in order for me to progress to the next level, I need to continually invest in myself. I need to continue reading. I need to listen to other people that are at greater stages than me, because I am a student of life. And being a student is the only way that you'll be able to progress your knowledge and hence your bank account, okay? You just get the love for the game, okay? You finally enjoy the journey. Because most people say, oh, it's all about the journey, right? Okay, but when someone's in the valley of despair, do you think they're enjoying the journey? No, okay? You only really get hindsight of how incredible the journey is when you get to stage 4 and stage 5. When you start to get a bit of success, then you really understand how beautiful the journey actually is. When you go through all 5 stages, you then welcome those stages in the future. You start a new business venture, you're going to go through this again, but you know what to expect because you've already gone through it, and hence then you can enjoy the gritty shit. You can enjoy when things go wrong because you know as long as you persevere and as long as you're consistent, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, you'll hit informed optimism, and then you'll hit success and fulfillment. Okay, so these are the main 5 stages. Guys, I could talk about this stuff for literally hours. The emotional state of change or emotional cycle of change. If you want me to dive into this in more detail, please do drop a comment down below. I could literally create an entire video on this and even jump into specifically how you can get through these stages, some mental models and how you can get through these stages. If you're stuck in, let's say, informed pessimism right now, what to expect, how to get through it much quicker so you can hit stage 4 and 5 in a shorter time frame. So let me know in the comments. Okay, but ultimately we just need to understand where we're at, okay? Because understanding where you're at right now is vital to where you're going or what you do next. Okay, but no matter what you do, you must understand that it won't be easy, regardless of what you do. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to drop probably a link after this video so you can actually get access to this document. This is going to be your cheat sheet to getting rich. I'll drop a link down below, maybe sign up to the newsletter, and you'll be able to get access to this entire document that I'm creating today, okay? So what are we actually going to do? We've got 2 main options, okay? So we have employment and we have entrepreneurship, okay? And I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. Entrepreneurship, or employment, sorry, takes years of sacrificing your time with no promise of a payout. Don't get me wrong, there are some people in employment that will dedicate years of their time and they will be successful in their career, they will make a lot of money, but there is no promise of a payout. You're always going to be at the beck and call of your boss. That decision will always be out of your control, okay? But entrepreneurship or business takes years of sacrificing everything. You're not just sacrificing your time, you're sacrificing your private life, you're sacrificing your relationships, you're sacrificing your health in some cases. You literally sacrifice everything in entrepreneurship. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, but at least there's a promise if you persevere. Okay, the only way you won't be successful if you're running in a proven business model is if you give up, okay? If you hit stage 3 and then you recycle stage 1, you just get stuck in this kind of feedback loop here. You need to be able to push through and persevere to get to stage 4 and stage 5. If you do that, okay, you will be successful as an entrepreneur. There is a promise of a payout, okay? So what does it actually look like? Let's dive into this, okay? Build the foundations. It's very fundamental you understand these things. But what is the perfect business? Okay, what does that actually look like? What is a perfect business model, in fact? Because ultimately, no 2 businesses are created equal. Okay? Every business model is different. And there needs to be some very fundamental traits of this business model when you're just starting out. If you haven't got entrepreneurship experience, we need to be in something that is scalable. Okay? There are so many businesses with roofs that you can't push past. If you want to be a millionaire, okay, you can't start. There are many businesses that you can't start if you want to be a millionaire, okay? So it needs to be scalable. It needs to have a low barriers to entry, okay? So you can start it with relatively low investment, ideally just knowledge. It needs to be somewhat recession-proof as much as it can be. It needs to be a service or a product that you're selling that is still in demand even in economic turmoil. It needs to be simple, so there has to be a level of simplicity. Okay, AI-proof somewhat. Okay, now many businesses are not AI-proof. Again, most businesses aren't AI-proof, but at least you want to be in a business model that allows you to leverage AI whilst you can, okay, and be on top of AI technology so you can understand it in its fullest. So if that shit ever does hit the fan and kind of AI is coming for your job, you understand that it's been coming for a very long time and then you know how to get on top of it because you're going to be problem solving that, okay? There needs to be longevity on the same note. And finally, it needs to be beginner friendly, okay? Okay, similar, some of these things kind of cross over, but it needs to be beginner friendly. You need to be able to jump into this if you've never had a business before, if you've maybe been in a job, if you're still in education right now, okay? It needs to just be something that you can learn in your private time, in your free time, and then apply it and be able to make money, okay? Let's just make that bold. So let's look at some of the popular options right now. Okay, what are some of the business models that like most people are going for? Okay, kind of the same characters come up every time that someone's like, oh, I want to start a business. Okay, it's normally like e-commerce. Okay, and this includes Amazon FBA. Okay, it includes drop shipping. Okay, it includes white labeling, whatever. Okay, you get the idea. E-commerce, simply selling products online. You can get them from Chinese manufacturers. You can manufacture in the UK. It can be supplements. It can be clothing. Whatever. I don't really care. Okay, e-commerce is a popular option. Okay, very viable business. We work with e-commerce companies in our marketing agency, and some of them make billions. Okay. Okay. What else? Info products. Okay, we are in an online education boom. So being an online coach or consultant, selling courses, programs, mentorship, affiliate marketing. Also very popular in this online space, especially on YouTube. Real estate is a big one. Okay, buying, selling houses, also Airbnb. Very popular, or really popular out here in South Africa. So many Airbnb hosts out here. Okay, but you need a lot of investment, you need a lot of capital. Okay, and I'm guessing if you're watching a video on how to get rich, you don't have money right now. Okay, so what is the perfect model? What does that actually look like? Can we define the perfect model? Okay, does that even exist? And I would stipulate that there's no such thing as the perfect business model, but we can get pretty close to it if we want to consider all of these things here. Okay, like for example, we have e-commerce. It's very scalable. It's not low barrier to entry at all. You need a lot of money to invest into it. It can be recession proof. It's not very simple. There's a lot of moving parts. It is AI proof. It has got a lot of longevity. It's not beginner friendly at all. Info products, definitely not beginner friendly. Got a lot of longevity, I reckon. Is it AI proof? Yes, I would say so, although AI creates a lot of information and we have access to it like never before. It's not simple. It is recession proof. There is not a low barrier to entry at all, but it is scalable. Okay, so we're not ticking all the boxes here. Affiliate marketing, same goes. Real estate, absolutely same goes. We already know, like, it's not low barrier to entry at all. We need a lot of money. Okay, so what is the business that actually ticks all of these boxes? Okay, so I want to run you through the business that I actually started when I first started in this entrepreneurship journey. This is the same business model that I would start if I lost everything tomorrow and I had no money whatsoever. And this is simply a business model that has been around for absolutely years. It's a service business, or what you would call an agency. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to provide a specialist service to businesses to help businesses grow, okay, or to aid businesses. Because it really is broad, okay, it's very broad in what you can actually do, okay, and you may have heard this business model before, okay, you probably heard it in the form of SMMA, okay, which is a social media marketing agency. You may have heard it in the form of an AIAA, which is an AI automation agency. You may have heard it in the form of IGPA, which is a new trendy little shiny object that's been thrown into the industry. So, Info Product Growth Agency. Okay, what you need to understand about all these businesses is they are all the fucking same. The only difference between each of these business models is the service that we offer. They are all service businesses and they are all agencies. Okay, these are all agencies. The only difference is the service. Okay. So what kind of services could we actually offer, hypothetically speaking? Okay, we could offer paid ads. In fact, let me make a table out of this, because I suspect that there's going to be a few of these. So let's make it a bit bigger. Let's maybe create another column there. Let's do that again. Okay, so we have ads. What else have we got? We've got SEO, we've got content, we've got websites, we've got email marketing, we've got events, we've got PR, we've got sales, you've got AI, we can make some more columns. And there are so many different avenues you can go down. You can go down webinars, you could do SMS, you could do appointment setting, okay? The list will go is endless, right? Go over to ChatGPT, ask it to list you all the different services that you could offer as an agency. The list will just go on and on and on and on. All of these businesses are exactly the same as each other, with the only differential between them being the service that you're actually offering and who you're actually offering that service to. Okay, they are all fundamentally agencies. So you'll hear these businesses kind of come up from time to time across the internet, all kind of wrapped up in these different shiny objects. They're all fundamentally agencies. They all run in the exact same way. You acquire customers in the same way, using the same strategies. The only thing that changes is the way that you sell, okay, and the words that you actually say, and the service you actually fulfill for your clients. But fundamentally, it is a service business where you're going to another company, okay? Sometimes even you're going to consumers, and you're going out and offering a service that's going to help them improve their life. Normally, that's increasing their revenue, but it can also be saving them time as well, which in many cases, and can be argued, is more valuable than money for many business owners, okay? You might be looking at this right now thinking, man, this is intimidating. Like, how the hell am I going to learn any of these things? Like, I don't understand how to deliver any of these services. Now, I didn't understand how to deliver anything when I first started, okay? Now, I started a paid ads agency. I still run a paid ads agency to this day. It's actually one of the core services I recommend most people to start, but I don't care what service you start. You need to start something that resonates with you. But you must understand that everything on this list, everything is a skill that can be learned. And that applies for everything in life, right? There is nothing out there that you cannot achieve with enough time and dedication, okay? If you put your mind to anything, you can learn that skill. If you can't handstand right now, believe me, put in enough hours, you're gonna be able to handstand, okay? I set my goal this year, I wanted to be able to muscle up, okay? I've been training for it for 3 months, I managed to get a muscle up in last week. Believe me, when I first started like 3 months ago training for these things, I was fucking useless. I couldn't even, well, I was about to say I couldn't even pull up. I definitely could pull up. But if you saw my muscle ups, you would have laughed, right? But I got it in my head. I had the determination. I knew I was going to achieve that, and I knew that I can achieve absolutely anything if I put my mind to it. It's exactly the same with any of these skills. Invest enough time into it, put in the man hours, put in the work, get uncomfortable. You will get good at any of these skills. You'll become a master at them, dare I say, within 6 to 12 months. Okay? So we must learn a skill. We need to choose something that resonates with us. Okay? So let's quickly jump into why this is the logical path. And I'm going to call this a logical entry path, okay? Or entry point. Because I believe an agency is a great entry point. I don't believe this is the business necessarily that is going to make you a millionaire in the shortest time frame possible. I believe that this is going to get you your stepping stone into business, build enough relationships, gain enough leverage in order to make your first million, okay? This is a great entry point for people that have not been in entrepreneurship before, okay? And it's fundamental to understand because you only need to get really good at one thing, okay? Okay, and then because of that, come on, your success depends on that one thing. We can call it step one, okay? Your entire success depends on step one. Just get really good at delivering a service and you will be successful. Bottom line, you unlock the ability to deliver value to somebody else. Value creation equals financial creation. Value creation equals money. That is the bottom line. You provide value to someone. Any product or service that you find out there in the world will provide value to someone in some way, shape, or form. You master delivering of value or delivery of value, and you will master putting more cash in your bank account. That is the bottom line. That's the fundamental, most basic way that business works. Okay, so an agency feeds into that directly. And an agency is a people's business. And this is why I think this is even bigger actually. Okay? People equal opportunity. Now, I think an agency is a great entry-level business. I think a lot of people promote the agency model as it's like this all-in-one, all-encompassing, this is your whole life made, now you're starting an agency. Now, trust me, you're not going to want to run an agency for too many years. When you run an agency, you're either going to want to automate it, you're going to want to hire a team that's going to be able to help you manage the process. You're not going to be wanting to be a solo agency owner for a very long time. You're probably going to want to exit at some point. But an agency is incredible for building capital in the bank, for building cash flow that you can invest into other ventures, into other businesses, invest into other opportunities. And it also means, because you're speaking and delivering services to people day in, day out, you're going to be speaking to a lot of other successful people. And successful people know other successful people. Successful people seek opportunity. And hence opportunity is going to come to you. And so you don't know yet what that opportunity is going to be. But believe me, when you run a successful business and you're speaking to clients and they introduce you to someone, maybe you go to a corporate event with them, maybe you hang out and you have dinner, and you have these little conversations. Your biggest challenge in a couple of years' time, if you do well, is going to be learning to say no to opportunities, to the bad opportunities, and saying yes to the great opportunities. And within those conversations, you're going to have that halo idea, okay, and you won't have it right now, but you're going to have in the birth of your agency, you're going to have that big idea that's going to make you multiple millions. And that's exactly what happened for me, and exactly what happened for everyone else I know that's got truly rich from this business model. They used the network that they built, and they used the money and the finances that they built to invest in something else. And that is what made them truly rich, okay? You have to get started in that business in the first place. You have to unlock that privilege. You have to build those relationships, okay? So let's dive into this. Making your first bit of cash. let's get into the nitty-gritty, all right? This is what you're actually here for, right? How do we actually make some money? How do we do this, okay? Okay, where do we start? What does it actually take? In fact, what does it physically take, okay? What does it physically take to make money with this business model? What are the actual action steps that you need to take? Okay, lots of people, some of you guys will be working off action, some of you guys will be working off mentality. Let's cover both of those avenues, okay? So you've decided you're gonna start an agency. You're gonna generate a list of leads in your local area, okay? You always wanna leverage your locality. Business is all about leverage. When you're first starting out, you don't have a lot of leverage, but you do have your locality. And so if you're offering a service, it might be web, it might be email, I don't care what you offer, and you reach out to a local business, you're leveraging the fact that you're also local, okay? That is your in. So you wanna build a list of local leads. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna call those leads every day, okay? 20 a day. You're then gonna send emails and DMs, okay, on social media, wherever you can find the decision maker. And you're gonna obviously make this list of business owners, they're gonna be the decision maker, to the ones you can't get hold of, okay? And then you're gonna arrange meetings, in person, ideally, or Zoom, okay? Again, leverage our locality. You can build relationships so much quicker if you're going in person, okay? Most of my first clients I sign up were in person. It's so much easier than it is on Zoom. You build a lot of rapport. And when you're in that meeting, you're simply gonna diagnose their problems and provide a solution. Sounds simple, right? These are the simple steps you're going to take. 20 calls every single day. Send calls, send emails and DMs to the people you can't get hold of. Arrange meetings in person and then diagnose their problems and provide a solution. I've got a lot more content. I dive way more in depth into this. I'll shout out some at the end of this video. Again, completely free. I'm not going to try and sell you anything at all. Yeah, you can dive into this as much detail as you want to get. That is what it physically takes for you to actually get your first bit of money in the bank, okay, regardless of your position right now. But what does it mentally take? Okay, not a lot of people talk about this. What does it mentally take for you to get through these kind of barriers? Let's make this a little bit more dynamic. 2 columns. Let's chuck this bad boy over here. Okay, and let's see if we can move this down here. Okay, cool. First of all, when you're first starting out, you need to power through imposter syndrome. You're gonna get this a lot. You're going to be questioning yourself thinking, well, hang on a second, I'm just John who works down a local chippy. How am I going to offer a Facebook ad service to local real estate agents? That's not me, okay? That's someone else, I can't do that, okay? Imposter syndrome is crippling. You're going to have so much self-doubt, but you need to understand that the only way to push through imposter syndrome is to start to become that very person that you're pretending to be. It's a catch-22 situation. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do you get a good job? Well, you need good experience. How do you get a good experience? Well, you need a good job. At some point, something's got to give. At some point, you need to just embody someone that you're fundamentally not, blag it, and fill those boots. That's the key. You need to make sure you actually then fill those boots. But you need to puff up your chest. You need to finesse a little bit. Embody the person you need to become. But you're going to have to power through imposter syndrome. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's going to be really difficult in those initial stages. Trust me, I went through this, and so many people do. And one of the hardest things is getting used to the rejection. Okay? When you call up leads 20 every single day, you call up 20, I'll go through some maths in a minute actually. Yeah, good shout. I'm going to go through some maths. When you call up 20 companies every single day, at least 19 of them are going to reject you, okay? And most people are not used to rejection. Most people haven't had rejection since their first girlfriend broke up with them in school. We don't like rejection. We shy away from rejection, okay? Rejection is not comfortable, and we don't like being uncomfortable, right? But we need to get uncomfortable, as we've already established. So get used to the rejection, okay? Start to enjoy it. You'll actually end up laughing at it. You'll find hypocrisy in it. And you're going to have to turn into a robot. Okay, for a period of your life actually, for a certain amount of hours every single day, for the first like 6 months, you're going to have to turn into a bit of a robot. You're going to be doing monotonous shit that isn't very enjoyable, and you're going to be repeating it every single day, and that's going to be pretty difficult. But actually, it's not much different to what you're doing right now if you're in a 9 to 5 job. You just do it knowingly, and society tells you that's acceptable. Okay, we go in and we do our job, and we work like a robot for 8 hours, and we come home and we actually are living our life again. Okay, you're doing the same thing, but it feels very different when you're in business. You'll understand what I mean, and if you've ever done this before, you'll resonate with that. Okay, and you need to tackle anxiety. You're going to have so much anxiety around this. Stage 1 to 3 in that emotional state change, okay? You're going to have a lot of doubt, you're going to have a lot of anxiety, you're going to be really kind of intimidated by doing calls. It's a very scary thing to do. You're going to be intimidated by jumping in on meetings. Trust me, that skill, that anxiety, when we feel that ball in our gut, it's so powerful. When you have that feeling of fear and it riddles you, that is exactly when you need to persevere. That is exactly when you need to push through whatever you are trying to achieve in that very same moment. Okay, that anxiety is where all of the growth is. Understand that, and we are taught from a very young age to avoid that feeling, to stay away from that, to stay comfortable. But when you feel that fear, and again, this is going to be something you become so addicted to. Your life is going to change so much. You're going to be such a different person after you actually implement this. Yeah, you're going to have to tackle anxiety and introversion. Okay. I'm what I call an introverted extrovert. I have an extrovert facade, but fundamentally I'm an introvert at heart. And most people are introverts in the world, and most people pretend to be extroverts. You're going to have to push through that, and it's going to be very difficult. Jumping into something like sales is not easy, but trust me, it's like the key that you're going to unlock the door to the rest of your life. When you understand good sales, you'll be able to apply that skill in anything that you do, regardless of whether you're still running an agency or you're starting a real estate business or you're an affiliate marketer, whatever the fuck you do with your life. If you can get into sales and you can get good at it and you can tackle and you can understand how to create a facade of extroversion, you're going to unlock so many possibilities. And you're going to have to understand that your clients need you. Most people presume, or most people have this crippling feeling when they're jumping on meetings, and it just screws up their entire sales process when they're in an agency, that they need their client. Oh, I really need it. I want to make this work. I really need to get that first paycheck in. I really just want to quit my job. I really just want to retire my parents. All these selfish desires. When you actually come away from that, and what this does is it oozes inauthenticity in your meetings. It's just going to ooze this desperation. It's going to turn off the business owner. You're not going to close anyone. But when you actually take a step back and realize that you're offering a service that your clients fundamentally need, that's actually going to aid their life, you start to sell in a completely different manner. Agency sales is not hard sales. It is a conversational problem-solving exercise. We are going in and we are selling something or offering a solution to a problem that the business owner needs to solve, okay? And they just need to gain enough trust in us in order to say yes and start working with us. They fundamentally need our service, and so we need to understand that as soon as possible. The soonest way you actually understand it is by delivering your result, right? By actually signing up a client and proving that to yourself. When you realize the power that you have to impact the business owners that you're going to be working with, your entire sales process is going to change. You understand that your clients actually need you more than you need them. Okay, so let's go a step further. Hitting that first 10K month. I have no idea what time we're on right now. But I'm not done. Let's get to 10K. How far are we going to take this? I'll run through some of the stuff it takes to get to 100K. Yeah, and I'll give you guys some resources that you can follow in order to actually start implementing this stuff, okay? So hitting the first 10K month, you don't want to be too choosy with your clients. It's really key. Many people when they're starting in this industry are like, right, well, I only want to work with chiropractors. I only want to work with gyms. I only want to work with dentists, right? Well, no, you need to be working with anyone that you can possibly get your hands on in those initial stages, as long as they're actually suitable for your service, okay? So think about, okay, can this person actually benefit from my service? If yes, then work with them, okay? Don't be too choosy. Have like a scattergun effect and start reaching out to everyone in the local area. That's going to be key in the initial stages. Because ultimately you want enough practice to get really good at delivering your service. Okay? As we've already established, getting great at delivering a service is the absolute key. That is your ticket to being able to control your income. Understand the power of leverage. Okay? As we've said, the only leverage that you have in the initial stages is your locality, but as we start signing up clients, we can start gaining case studies. Case studies are simply proof that we can deliver on the service, that we are who we say we are, and we can do what we say we can do, okay? So we actually want to prioritize case studies over cash. Case studies are so much more valuable. One great case study with a local business is infinitely more valuable than any amount of money that a business could be paying you on a monthly basis. Because you can leverage that case study, you can package it up, you can run it as ads, you can be calling up other businesses, hey, we just started working with John's steakhouse down the road, we actually managed to get an XYZ result, we'd love to do the same for you. Are you free over the next couple of days? When you can use that kind of terminology, when you can leverage other companies' success, then that snowball is going to start, and you're going to be compounding the amount of clients that you're going to be signing, okay? Because you have leverage, you have proof. And that is the key. It's hard to get that first client. It's hard to get that first proof. Most people will value cash over case studies. Now, that is completely a backwards mindset for hitting that first 10K. So I said I was going to do some maths. So let's actually do that. Let's actually break down like the stats. I've helped thousands of people start agencies, so I'm going to break down from what I've seen across every country in the world and everyone I've worked with, what the average stats are for like actually being able to get clients. So I mentioned 20 calls at the start, okay, when I said about, calling up 20 companies every day. 20 calls is probably about 2 hours of your time if you're just actually calling back to back. 20 calls is how you get one meeting. I've seen on average, across everyone, 20 calls gets you one meeting on average, okay? Now, 4 meetings in the initial stages will get you 1 client, okay? You're gonna be pretty shit at sales, I can't lie to you. You're not gonna have the confidence, you're not gonna have the conviction in your ability and your to deliver a service. And so it's gonna take you probably 4 meetings to get a client. Now it takes us like 4 meetings to get 2 clients, okay? So this will change over time, but initially, let's just do this in the worst case scenario. So that means 10 calls, which is kind of 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, is going to be 5 meetings. 5 meetings is 1 point something clients, but we'll just say 1 client because we can't have fractional clients, okay? And that means 4 clients signed a month, okay, over the course of 4 weeks. And the average value of a client is going to be anything from, this will vary massively depending on where you're from, depending on your service, but it's going to be anything from $500 to $1,000. Some people this will be more, some people this will be less, okay? You get the idea. So that means that 4 clients equals between 2K and what's that, 4K, okay? So per month we're going to be earning now, okay? And then that means if we're then doing this over 3 months, we're going to be earning, if we're consistent, between 6K and 12K per month, right? Now again, this is just some top-down maths, okay? I'm being pretty broad here. There's a lot of variables that come into play here, so let's just take into account some of those. So what's going to actually make this slower, let's say, so slow this down, okay? What is going to make this slower? What's going to make this slower? If some of your clients want free trials, okay? Or as I like to call it, pay after results. This is simply where we use this as a secret weapon at the end of the meeting. And if we can't get someone over the line, we say, look, okay, look, I completely understand your position. I don't do this for everyone, but I know this will work for you. Why don't I work for free for the next month and you only pay me after I get you the results, okay? So it's like a free trial to get that case study, as we've established, is more valuable than cash. And then that means obviously that's going to be slowing down this process of you making money, okay? You also will probably screw up. Okay? Not a lot of people talk about this. Okay? This is not something we want to do by any stretch. And I don't encourage you screwing up clients. I encourage you to get the best that you possibly can before you actually start signing up clients and delivering a service. But the only thing that's truly going to give you experience in delivering a service, unless you've worked for an agency part-time to get that experience, is signing up clients. And not every client you sign up, you're going to get results for in the initial stages. Over time, you'll know which clients are ideal. Over time, you'll get better at delivering your service, but I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You're probably going to screw up a couple of the clients that you end up working with. Okay, not screw up the client, but I mean screw up the account, and you might have to refund that client. Okay, so at least they won't lose money. Okay, you also, because as a result of this, your morale will drop. You may drop your consistency. Okay, this happens a lot. People will struggle to get a client results, or maybe they're just fed up of the rejection on the cold calls. They can't handle the 20 calls a day. They're like, man, this is disheartening. And then their consistency drops. They stop outreaching for 2 weeks. So I'm just going to skip tomorrow. And tomorrow turns into the next day, and then the next day turns into a week, and the week after that turns into a month. And then before you know it, you're at stage 1 again, and you're fucking jumping onto another business model. This is a cycle. This is what happens, okay? So be aware of these things. I'm not saying these things just out of chance. These are the things that fundamentally happen. I've seen this happen through thousands and thousands of different people. So be aware of this. Do not convince yourself, oh yeah, I'm just going to skip tomorrow, okay? Don't do it. The minute you skip 1 day, you will skip 2 days, you'll skip 7 days. It's like going to the gym. You skip 1 day in the gym, and then you say to yourself, it's okay to skip the gym. Do not ever skip the gym, because it's going to allow you to believe that that is okay. You're going to change your standards. So how do we speed this up? Okay, we're going to speed this up by leveraging are unfair advantages. This is a big one. Okay, what can be some of our unfair advantages be? Previous experience, okay, or our network. Okay, previous experience in industry, so you might already understand how to fulfill one of these services. Okay, you might have already got one of these nailed down from previous job roles. That's awesome. Then that means you're going to be able to sign up clients a lot quicker because you're going to have more conviction in your ability, right? But you might also know some business owners in your local network. I'd recommend all of you posting on your social media and trying to get some kind of recommendation of business or as an introduction to other companies. By posting on social. And some of you will have better networks than others. You'll know more business owners. Okay, so leverage your unfair advantages. Makes sense to do that. Multi-platform outreach. Okay, so doing emails and DMs as well. Don't just stick to one outreach platform. If we're reaching out to 5 friends, we're not just going to WhatsApp all of them. We're going to iMessage one, we might Instagram DM another. We'd probably never call one of our mates because they never pick up the phone. Treat your clients the same way, okay? Reach out to them on different platforms because everyone responds differently to different platforms. And finally, what else? Just keep it in freeze. Increase your output, obviously. Okay, your output directly correlates, or your input directly correlates to your output, okay? Your input. Okay? The more calls you make, the more clients you reach out to, the more meetings you have. That is seemingly obvious, but I cannot count how many times I said someone reach out to 20 companies a day. And that's 2 hours worth of work, right? And probably another hour or so for lead generation. And they're like, when they've got 8 hours a day to actually put into the business, they're moaning to me about why things aren't moving as fast as they'd like them to. And then I reach out and they're like, well, I'm only doing 20 calls a day, like you said. Well, you've got 8 hours. What are you doing for what are you doing for the final 6? What are you doing for the final 5? Okay? What are you doing? Just sitting around watching Netflix, watching fucking porn? Like, what are you doing with your time? So invest that time into more output, more input, you'll get more output. Reach out to more clients, you will sign more clients. That is the bottom line. It's that simple. That sounds so stupid, me saying that. Lift more weights, more time, heavier weights, you'll get bigger, you'll grow. Eat more food, you'll get fatter. Reach out to more businesses, cold call more companies, you'll sign up more clients. It's as simple as that, guys. Let's not overcomplicate this, okay? Too many people overcomplicate this shit. Put in more work, you'll get more results. Bottom line, okay? So, that's the path to 10K. Okay, and of course, there's other shit that happens. There's going to be roadblocks. Watch my content. I go into this in more detail, but I just want to give you this kind of top-down summary. Let's go 10K to 100K plus. That's what I said to you guys about making $1 million. Okay, so for 100K plus over the course of the year, we're making $1 million. What's the path? Okay, how are we actually going to get to that point? And not just in an agency, but in general, okay? Well, the first thing we're going to want to make sure that we do is we build a great team of people. You can get to 10K on your own. You can do that as a solo business owner, okay? You might want to hire just like a bit sooner than that, but you're never going to get to 100K on your own. You need a team of A players, okay? What is an A player? An A player is someone just like you and I. It's someone that's willing to put in the work like we are. It's someone that's that doesn't just think about their job in the 9 to 5, but thinks about it when they go home at night. Who's available all the time, who's willing to put in the graft more than other people are willing to put in, and who are better at things than you are. Okay, when you hire people that are better at achieving the task you're hiring for than you are, that is when you scale exponentially. Okay, so hire a team of A players. It's going to be fundamental. And find your unique place in the marketplace. Okay, and this is not going to be something you're going to be able to think about right now. You have to get in and get stuck and you have to blend into the masses of other people in the initial stages, but you will find your unique place in the marketplace, and you're always going to be looking for that in those early stages. Okay, find what makes you unique and what makes you stand out. And you're going to be getting a lot of opportunity. As we said, this is a people business, so learn to say no to the wrong opportunities. Let's highlight that. To the wrong opportunities. And obviously, and yes to the right ones, okay? When you are successful, success breeds success. Success, it's like a magnet to other opportunities. And so do not get shiny object syndrome. When I first started and I saw all these new opportunities, when you're so opportunity scarce and you're in such a famine mindset, you're just clinging on to every little bit of opportunity you can get. But what you realize very early on when you get distracted by those opportunities is that they take you away from your main thing and actually put you right back in stage 1 to 3 of that cycle of emotions, right? And so after you've said yes to a couple of wrong opportunities, after you've got that shiny object syndrome a couple of times, you then realize that actually the real skill is learning to say no, okay? And being able to analyze which opportunities are actually worth considering. And one of these opportunities at some point will be a bigger opportunity than your agency actually will be, and you've already unlocked that kind of stage of business. You're already on that stepping stone. You're then going to unlock that next stage. I think in business, we are unlocking new stages continuously as our power increases, as our capital increases, as our network increases, as our self-worth increases. We're continually unlocking these different stages of business. Okay, and getting into the agency industry is just stage one of that. And so we need to be on the lookout for our gateway, our path into stage two. Okay, and that can be a whole variety of different things. Okay. So we need to understand how to say no, and we have to stack capital up. Okay, don't spend all your money. Yes, reward yourself. Yes, enjoy the process. Okay, I want to talk. I bought an M4 my first 20k month, and I bought a GT4 a few months after that because I wrote it off. I bought £1 million house. Like, I've not been frugal at all with the money that I've got, but fortunately I've always made enough money, big enough of a surplus to not have to worry about that. Okay, I've now fulfilled all those materialistic desires, and I can say to you that it won't fill you as much as you think it would. And I think that you should, to an extent, fulfill those material desires if you have them. Not all of you will, but you must stack capital. You must be prioritizing having enough money in the bank. And ideally, you want at least 12 months of outgoings for the business, so the business could entirely fail, and you have 12 months of outgoings that you can literally just pluck away at, okay, in the company at any one time. That's going to create a lot more security. It's going to allow you to make decisions in the company based on what is actually best for the business, not based on this kind of famine mindset where you're just trying to make ends meet and just trying to cover your outgoings every single month. You want to have a surplus of cash in the bank, and you also want to have enough so you can invest. Okay, it's really key to invest. Okay, I've had the pleasure and the benefit of being a angel investor in multiple startups now, which are going to produce huge results in the future. Okay, I would not have had those opportunities if I hadn't stacked capital and been relatively conservative with the money that I've got in the bank. Okay, so this is it. This is how you truly get rich right now. This is the exact path that I would take if I'd lost everything tomorrow, had no money in the bank. This is the path of least resistance for all of you guys watching this who want to make some money, you want to get your entry into business, you want to unlock future opportunities and build generational wealth. But the real question is, are you a bystander or are you an action taker? Do you actually have what it takes to commit to this? Okay, let me write that down. Are you an action taker or are you a bystander? What does that mean? Action takers make the commitment knowing fully that it is not going to be easy, that they are not choosing an easy path. They take one step at a time, day by day. Whilst bystanders watch those people succeed, they naysay about it, and then they complain. Now, I know that because I was one of those individuals. I've been in that position in my life. I've been in that position for years. Oh, I just need to start the next Uber, the next Airbnb. Oh, I can't start that business because there's loads of other people doing it. Oh, they're only successful because they've been lucky. They're in the right place at the wrong time. Bullshit. All of these pathetic excuses you tell yourself because you want to stay comfortable. And comfort breeds mediocrity, and that is the bottom line. This is what it actually takes to be rich. And some of you might not like all the things that I've gone through in this video today, but I want to strip back all of the lies. I want to strip back and I want to give you the truth of what it actually takes to be successful right now. Because I think many people are so set on selling dreams and selling the lifestyle and showing all of the good shit that they're too afraid to talk about what it actually takes. And I think that's a crying shame. Because if you actually come into this with the right mindset and you know it's not going to be easy, then actually you have the best foundation to make this work. Now, I think we're pretty much there. Instead of me talking about this for any longer, about 6 months ago, I made the commitment to prove to you guys what you could actually achieve in a small amount of time. And I started this business model again from scratch. I started a brand new agency from zero. I then scaled it up, signed my first couple of clients in a couple of days, and I documented that entire process. So I believe that talk is cheap, and I will always show you what it actually takes to go out there and do it and get in the trenches myself. And so I recorded 6.5 hours of me going out and building this agency. It's pretty much a free course teaching you everything that you need to know to go out there and get started. And so if you want to continue learning right now, I'll put a link in the description. You can go watch that series of me starting an agency from scratch. And of course, make sure you get involved in the giveaway. Let me know your why, drop a comment down below. And also let me know if you enjoyed this style of content, just kind of free balling and brain dumping. I hope this has been valuable to each and every one of you. Thank you for sitting it out. Wish you all the most of success, and I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.